G'day folks, Ziggy here. Affliction League in the Wildwood has brought some very fun new niche tools to all sorts of different builds. And Spectre builds and Summoner builds in general are really feasting with lots of very cool corpses to raise into Specters to gain all sorts of different auras. The problem with non-minion builds is they can't really keep their minions alive in order to benefit from most of these Specters. So maybe some people will work them into their builds, but it's pretty hard to do because you don't want those dying and you don't have to rebuy corpses and then resummon them. That's a pain. That said though, there is one option for non-minion builds that is fantastic good value here that will give you a free aura and some other little bonuses in whatever build pretty much you desire. So any non-minion build can take advantage of this, and these are the Dark Marionettes. These little puppet creature things reassemble themselves when they die. That means you can take advantage of one of the newer support gems here, Guardian's Blessing support, which allows you to link to an aura and a minion and effectively curse your minions with decaying life to give yourself a free aura while they stay alive. And this works really well in this instance. So this doesn't take any reservation. So I was like, do I take Grace or do I take Malevolence? Why not just get both, right? So I can cast my Malevolence skill here. It costs no extra mana. And I gain my damage and my minions start decaying. The good thing is here that they respawn almost immediately. And it just keeps going and it stays active as long as their health isn't perfectly synced up. So if they're both at full health when you activate this, they'll die at the same time and it'll disable. It's instant cast, so you can just re-enable it. It's not a big deal. But if you're in maps and doing content, so I was just like in this map doing this, one of the minions will take some damage and it'll be like a little bit more than the other. You activate it and then they die out of sequence, like they alternate their deaths and it just stays active forever. Really cool thing about this is it even persists across like load screens too. So once this gets going, you can like leave your map, start a new map, go in and it'll keep going. So you can just keep your extra free aura up almost perpetually. Just like keep it on your toolbar so you can like see if it's like if your minions have become fully healed or maybe they both got wrapped by a big AoE attack from an enemy or something like that, then you'll reactivate it. So that's like the only real downside is you occasionally have to reactivate it. Super easy though, and for the power of an extra aura, it's a really good trade-off. It just needs a 3-link. You only need Guardian's Blessing, your aura, and your Spectre, so you could put that in a one-handed weapon or a wand or something like that. 2 blue, 1 red, pretty easy to do. You can, if you have an extra socket, throw in a meat shield, which gives you a chance to taunt on hit. When a minion taunts an enemy, they will deal less damage to you because they're currently taunted by the enemy, and that's how that little extra bonus on taunt works. I think it's like 10% less damage to the non-taunting target, so that's a nice little extra survivability boost there. The other really cool things about these guys is that, well, if you just want to do it for the aura, they're very cheap. You can just get an imperfect Dark Marionette, and that's like 1 or 2 chaos. Easy peasy, that's done there. Even if they go up a few, it's very easy to find these. You'll find an imperfect one or a regular one every so often. I found both mine myself, it didn't take long. Then if you want to go up a little bit and spend a little bit more, there's some extra bonuses you can get. And especially pay attention to the last one as well. So the Dark Marionettes here explode, dealing damage as physical fire and lightning, so 15% of their life is damage basically. So I've seen some people playing with like popcorn Spectre builds, pretty fun stuff, but you know, it's just a little bonus. Probably doesn't do too much in a non-minion build since you're not scaling a ton of minion life, but bonus damage, sure. The perfect version, however, has something very cool to offer for elemental builds, and that is they scorch. So Scorch lowers enemy elemental resistances by up to 30% based on the fire damage of the hit. So I'm not sure exactly how much Scorch effect you're going to get, but it's going to be, even if it's maybe just a few percent, like that's still a free extra resistance lowering effect. That's just going to be popping off every so often. So that explosion, whenever it hits something, will have the scorching effect there. And because it's labeled as they scorch on hit, explosion scorches, it sounds to me like it's guaranteed, so you probably don't need any like crit or elemental ailment chance or anything like that, so it should be 100% guaranteed. Just the magnitude probably scales based on the size of the explosion, so just how strong that effect is, it's hard to tell. I don't know of any way of testing that, but even if it's 5% less elemental resistance, that's free extra damage. Great. I mean, yeah, a few chaos maybe. An extra little note or two, so how to use these corpses once you find them, if you haven't played Summoner or played around with these things at all yet. Once they're in your inventory, you simply just right click them and it'll drop the corpse on the ground, which you can then use the Spectre gem to reanimate. So I've seen people left clicking them and like dropping them on the ground, not wondering why it wasn't working. So that should answer your question if you've been having that issue. The other thing to know is that if you do accidentally like kill them because you disable your item, So for example, if you take out our Raised Spectre gem, they actually re-drop their corpses back on the ground. You can't re-itemize these to pick them up and sell them again, but you can easily just re-raise them as a Spectre, just like that. So don't worry, if you have to like change your gear around, like anything like that, just make sure you don't like leave your hideout or anything, or log out or anything before you re-raise them, and then you'll be good to go. So even if they get a little bit more expensive, you're not at any risk of losing them. You can never lose these guys. That's great. I love it. It solves the problem I have with like the idea of using any sort of utility summon on a non-summoner build. So very cool stuff. These won't stay in the game permanently. I don't think GGG wants to design something where like every build can get a free extra aura. And wants to run like this Spectre corpse. I highly doubt a lot of Affliction things are staying in the game. It's a good league to jump in and have a play around with some of these things before they're gone. You know, like the new Ascendancies, for example. There's no way they stay around. So get in and have some fun with them. I certainly am. Anyway, hope this was helpful. Enjoy your free extra aura. I'm Ziggy, and thanks for watching.